Ahoy ahoy to all you smooth sailors out there, and welcome aboard the DeckTales Podcast. I'm your host and captain, Sammy Catlin, and this is the show where we set sail into the captivating world of ship life, delving into the best and worst experiences of the incredible crew members who called the open sea their workplace. Whether we're navigating stunning destinations to weathering unexpected storms, our guests all have stories to tell that will make you laugh, gasp, and maybe even shed a few tears. So, if you're a seasoned cruiser eagerly awaiting your next embarkation, or just curious as to what goes on at sea, DeckTales is your boarding pass to a world of nautical narratives. My guest today is Mr. Ian Montalto, a former cruise ship entertainment host who went on to become a student pastor. Ian and I worked together back in 2010, and it was great to speak with him to catch up on old times. So let's anchor up and have a little listen. Hello.
My lord, we did it.
Ian!
What's up, dude?
My God. Don't look at day different. There's something in the water over there. You look the same as you did all those years ago.
Well, I don't drink water. That's probably the issue. That's probably what it is. It's the just nothing but sugar and cake and everything unhealthy for me. I'm just full of preservatives. You know, we Americans, we love to eat fatty preservative type food. That's what it is.
What are you sitting in? A giant egg that's been cut in two?
I am. I figured I would get, as British as possible. I've got my tea. I've got my 1970s ball chair.
Oh, wow. Is that sitting on a podium or is that hanging from the ceiling?
It's sitting on a little round base thing. I'm really good with money. Yeah, it's on a credit card. It's not real money. So
yeah,
so
exactly.
Sure.
How are you though, Ian?
Dude, I'm phenomenal. I was so excited when you sent me a message. I was like, oh my gosh, Sam.
Yeah.
What a blast from the past. How have you been, man?
I've been okay. It's a bit of a slow start to the year for me in terms of my side hustles and gigs, but it's also fucking cold, so it makes perfect time for me to start doing this because this is the most fun part of it, Ian, just kind of getting to talk to people from the past and reliving old stories. But then the hard part is all the editing that obviously comes after that. But going back, I remember being obviously my first contract with Carnival back in 2009 was with you. We had a girl called Brittany and Emma on our team, and we had Big Sean as our ACD. Mm-hmm. I think he was some kind of drag performer in his downtime. He is
now, actually. Yeah, legit. He is legit a drag performer now, and he does I know he has, but I don't know if that's a thing that he normally does. But I know he does theater and stuff now.
Do you have his contact information?
I don't. No, I don't. I honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you. You are the first person that I've talked to post contract in a month after I got fired, or after I left that contract. I talked to everybody, and then that was pretty much it. I haven't talked to anybody in forever, right?
Wow.
About it.
I've touched base with your dad a few times. That sounds weird. I'll rephrase that. I've touched my dad a few times. Yeah, your dad's not doing drag these days, is he?
I mean, not that I'm aware of, but he might. Him and Sean, they might be.
No, but he's still very much on the cruise ship circuit. Your dad?
Oh yeah, no, for sure. He's, I think, on a ship right now. I've gone on a cruises with him since I've been off, and there always inevitably comes the oh, you used to work here, man. We would love to have you come help. We're short staffed. And I was like, yeah, you talk to the front office and ask them if I can come back. See how that goes over.
Out of curiosity, because I know we've mentioned his name several times now. I remember seeing him posting a video on YouTube through Carnival's official YouTube channel. And it was about it was to do with, because of COVID, they were replacing the need to go in and audition. So now it was all about doing it over FaceTime and showing your personality. And I was like, well, this is different. A guy who's never done a FaceTime video in his life is trying to basically teach people who've done it or not done it, how to do it, and he's never done it.
Right.
He's
But that is the entire front office of Carnival, isn't that? Like it's all people who have never actually done the job telling you this is how you have to do the job and then sending us emails and going, you've got to do this. And we're like, buddy, that doesn't work. That's not going to work. Like when you
yeah.
put a mic in my hand and I say these things, people are going to be like, what are you talking about? Right. Like, but that is the front office of Carnival. That was constantly, I mean, that was our thing all the
Hmm.
time. I remember sitting in the office, you, me, Brittany, and Emma, and listening to some nonsense about like something the front office wanted to do. And I remember Brittany and I looking at each other like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, that's not gonna, like, it was some way that they wanted us to do the hairy chess competition or some sort of game show or something like that. And they were like, this is what we have to do now. And it's like, that's not gonna work. Like, that is, and so we just ignored it. I mean, literally, we're like, you let us know if one of them shows up. And other than that, like, like I'm gonna continue to do the thing that has worked every week for the past 2 months that we've been doing hairy chess competition. So
It was actually one of my least favorite events to host. I just thought that event was so tacky. The only thing that saved it was the bit at the end with the Fun Force guys doing their breakdancing and then having
oh
them
yeah,
try to recreate it. That was the only bit that was really fun. The rest of it just felt so demeaning. But
oh
hey,
yeah, it was
that's
hilarious because like you are just making these people just act. That's what I thought. So we all had a different hairy chess competition, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
None of us did the same thing for hairy chess competition. That's why I loved mine because I was like, how can I make you look as stupid as possible throughout this process? Because it's like they're coming out here and like ready to rock, and they're thinking this is it. They're all drunk, but legit, dude. Like I just was like, how could I make you guys look as stupid as possible? And I think I had a pretty good. I mean, I'd have them go. We did down the stairs. I really hit my stride on the second contract because I was like, this is. I had a dude one time that waxed his chest. He had like full like rug has chest hair, and he waxed his chest in a heart.
Yeah. Going back to our contract was 2009, I believe, on the Paradise, and we were doing 3 or 4 day cruises. So we were doing 2 turnovers of passengers a week.
Right.
This is the late noughties, right? And our uniforms looked like they were early 90s.
Oh yeah, dude. It was wildly uncomfortable. I mean, literally, I mean, the joke was that they were Domino's uniforms. And then also the fact that we had to wear these anytime we were in guest areas was even worse.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you, I mean, I literally have some in my closet. I will go get them. I've got.
Well, this is an audio as much as it is anything. And also, I'm not sure if the whole defamation clause in the contracts.
Right. Are we past the statute of limitations at this point? Is that?
I would like to think so, but I haven't got a contract to hand to check, and you can't just pull one up online. I think I burned it or threw it away and tried to kind of light some incense and usher in a new year of peace and prosperity. I'm happy to talk trash on Carnival because it's been 14 years removed from my life, 13 years or so from your own as well. But let's just try to do it with taste and not name and shame anyone, so I don't have too much editing.
Right. Well, I mostly just make fun of myself anyway, so I don't really have names of anyone.
That's fine.
I was pretty much drunk the entire time that we did anything, especially second contract. More or less why I got fired, and more or less why I was like, yeah, you call front office and ask them if they want me back. I guarantee you they'll say no.
So was that the reason that they let go of you then in the end? Because what you became?
I was coning.
You was coning, and you got caught coning.
Yeah, I did.
Red-handed.
Yeah. No, I brought a guest down to my cabin because I was like, man, whatever. And so literally security obviously saw us on. Now, the plan that I had, I thought was brilliant. Okay. It wasn't, clearly. But I was also drunk and whatever.
How old were you at the time?
20.
So now you're in your
33.
You're 33.
So, yeah. So, but I mean, so I was also not my best self on any contract, just at all through that. Like I had kind of obviously I've been at home my entire life. Like I hadn't really like gotten out. Drinking age over here is obviously it's 21. So like I'd not ever really drank. I'd not ever really done anything at all. Like I just kind of existed and went to school, went home, slept, went back. And then fresh out of high school, like I come out here and all of a sudden it's $1 Foster's in the crew bar, right? And
Or
you're
a
like,
giant one as well.
oh yeah. I mean, the most expensive drink was a double Grey Goose and Red Bull, and it was only because you had to buy the Red Bull. Like, so I mean, like,
Love those crew bar prices.
oh dude, they were the best. And so yeah, like I mean, we would go and I would just get sloshed constantly. And so especially second contract, that's pretty much all I did was drink. Like I remember going up to freaking deck party, dude. I hate a deck party. That was absolutely my least favorite. You remember we had to go up and we had to get on the like stage on the Lido deck, and then we had to do all the line dances and stuff like that. Freaking hate it, dude. And obviously, so you're not allowed to have alcohol roaming around. You can have it in the disco or whatever as a crew member. You can like drink in there. But I actually couldn't because I'm not over 20. I wasn't over 21. So like I couldn't have alcohol anywhere in guest areas. And so I used to get a Powerade and drink like a little bit of it and then just go down to my room and throw some gin or some vodka or something into it. And I'd take that to deck party because I was like, I'm not doing this sober. Like I don't think it's possible to do the Cupid shuffle sober and with dignity. So
or the electric slide.
Oh dude, no, there's no way. So yeah, I would do
or any of those dances that we used to do.
No.
I swear to God, we did like 4 games of bingo a day minimum, and we would at least do the electric slide twice a day. It felt like that. It felt like we did that dance or those types of dances insane amount of times. I'm not wrong in saying that. The job literally drove us or you to drink. And
100%.
So you were
constantly.
That led you to then get the confidence, the Dutch courage to start coning. Do you remember why the term is called coning?
So I like what was explained to me was a couple of different things. So it was like you call them cones because you can set them anywhere and they're just going to stay there, right? So like you just tell a guest like, hey, stay there. I'll be right back. And you can come back 4 hours later and they're like, where is he? You know, like whatever.
Yeah.
So like that was one of them. The other one was a reference to the cone heads because they get on there. They don't have their sea legs. Boat starts rocking. They're bumping into everything. They don't know where they're at. They don't know what's going on.
The cone heads is what, sorry?
It's an old movie and it's aliens that come here and they're trying to like live as humans, but like they're just very awkward and very like kind of constantly again like bumping into stuff and that's the joke of it.
Yeah, but that's a good description for an atypical client of the Carnival Corporation.
It was funny because I would always have like people because, you know, you get stationed places during embarkation, debarkation, stuff like that. But then I'd have people like, I don't know, 2 days into the cruise that are like walking into the Normandy Lounge and going, hey, where's the Normandy Lounge? And I'm like, here. You made it. You walked past 9 signs that said Normandy on the way over here. There's maps at every elevator. Like there is a map in your room every day. And you're just like, I don't know where anything is. And it's like, buddy, like some common sense or just literacy would be dope. But yeah, so yeah, coning is sleeping with guests for the layman. And it was a no.
Immediate dismissal. How long were you in the industry for? So you started, your first contract was the one that I was on with you.
19 when I started, 20 when I got fired. So 2 contracts.
Oh, wow. You had a good long career then. But this is
way back. Good, man.
And nowadays, you're a born-again Christian nowadays.
Yeah. I took all of the nonsense that I learned in being a social host and in doing stuff like that. And now I do it in a much more edited version for kids. That's pretty much, I'm a student pastor, so middle school and high school students. That's, and then I just can act like an idiot like I did there, just with less alcohol and with less profane jokes. Not none, just less.
Just less. And all for his glory.
Right.
Our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. So you only did 2 contracts with Carnival. Back in 2009, 2010.
Yeah, I took like a 4-month break in between the 2 and came back. So when I got fired, I think it was right at the beginning of 2011, somewhere around there.
Did you have a favorite ship out of the two? The first or the last?
That's tough, actually. I definitely will say I enjoyed the job better on the second one, just because so much of your first contract is learning, and there's just a ton of stuff to like. I mean, you're doing the same thing over and over again every week, but like it takes, I think, a good amount of time to get something that works, right? Because like you do the game show the first time, and you're like, all right, like 30% of those jokes landed. That didn't work. Learning the humor of the audience, learning the humor, I mean, even of the area, like when we're coming out of Charleston, like the people that are going on the cruise are much different than when we're going out of California, right? And so like learning what to pick up on, learning how to read an audience obviously gets better with time. And so I'd say that the job was much better on the second one, but man, the relationships from both were so different, but so much fun. When I got fired, when I left Carnival, that was the biggest thing that I missed, was like just the relationships with people, and just from all over the place. I mean, in America, you don't really get as much diversity as you do working for Carnival, right? Because you have people from all over the world, right? Like we have people here that grew up around here, maybe moved from a different city in the same state. Like we'll meet people that are like, oh man, you're from New York. Wow. Like, like that's pretty much, but like, I mean, on the ship, you're like, oh, you're from England, you're from Australia, you're from Italy, you're from, well, you don't talk to people from Italy because they're all officers, but, if you talk to someone from Italy, you're in trouble. It's pretty much, but like you meet people literally from
That's true though.
Everywhere.
A lot of the officers on Carnival were Italian, weren't they?
No, 100%. That's why I always think it's funny when you watch like a show that has like a cruise ship captain or whatever, and they all come out and they're like, now let me talk to you for a second. And I'm like, fake. It's already fake.
Yeah.
If it's not a thick Italian accent, then it's not real.
Yeah. So as you are a Christian man, it's hard for you to pick a favorite and be leaning towards one or the other because you just can't choose.
If I had to pick, I'd say the second contract, even though I got fired and was drunk the whole time. But like, just from a sheer, I don't know, man. Because
did you get a different uniform on that second contract?
Same freaking.
Oh, okay. It wasn't because it was like a cooler uniform that made you look shredded.
Oh, no. There's not a uniform that can make me look shredded, but there's nothing but bones under. No, literally, like it was still that sweaty, like tracksuit pants, and they didn't have the like ones that fit me, so I had to get some that were like super big, and so I literally had those for forever. And then they were like, yeah, we've ordered some, but they just never came in. So I ended up having these gigantic, I call them swish pants, because you could hear me at forward while walking. Like you could hear me from probably midship, just coming through the.
Yeah, you could have started your own shipping company with them sails attached to your legs.
100%. I had to be careful upstairs and catch wind. It's man overboard.
Yeah, no, it was a genuine worry. There's so much loose material that you would literally just get pushed along the deck.
When we came out of Charleston, that ship, like we would go down. So we did Nassau, Freeport, and then Key West. And so we'd get, like, obviously during hurricane season, like it would be rough, but we had a game that we would play where, when the ship would come up and it would crest and like the front end of it would fall down. If you timed it right, it's like jumping on an elevator. And so if you timed it right, you'd be able to jump super high. So we went out into the main lounge and like, it's a big open area. And obviously anytime like we could feel the ship moving, like we pretty much knew we had the day off, because if we felt it, it was bad. Right. And that means that like guests weren't showing up to activities. They're all in their room. They're all somewhere else. And so we pretty much had the lounge to ourselves. And so we, plastered as we would go out and we would jump up the stairs from like the base to like the mid floor and then like wait again and try to jump up to the next one. Rough weather was never like scary for us. It was always dumb stuff.
A chance to embrace the chaos.
Right. We did another game too, called Koala. So the crew bar was at the front on those like lower, on the smaller class ships. And so you had the crew bar in the front underneath like the main lounge. The whole forward deck was like crew area, and out there was like a I don't know if you remember having the punching bag that was like hanging from the ceiling outside out there. Those like the area where everybody went to go smoke was like right outside those back doors, and then right next to that was a punching bag. So anytime, obviously, we'd be in like hurricane weather or really bad like seas or anything like that, we would go and you'd stand out away from it, and then you would get a running start, and obviously the bag is just swinging, like it's like slapping the ceiling that it's attached to, hitting the wall and stuff like that. Literally, we would get a running start and you would have to try to grab and hold on to the bag as it was like being slung around by the sea. And so that was a lot of fun. Obviously, you wouldn't do it sober, it'd be too easy. So we like would take running starts at that, and you'd have people miss. You'd try to grab it, and obviously it's wet because it's raining outside, so you'd slip off of it and hit the wall. Just a bunch of just stupid.
And it was called koala because koalas cling to trees, and
I cleaned the tree, yeah.
yeah,
So we were very creative. It was
very creative.
Yeah. Well, because you get it. Like once you live on the ship for, I mean, even 2 months, you've done everything, and it's like, what else is?
You'd had every version or every combination of pizza topping at the 24-hour pizza oven.
100%. Like you've had every sandwich at the deli. You've had like every order of smelt that you can stomach, right? Like you've done all the things. And so like it became, all right, what else is there? What are there like things that we can do to keep ourselves busy? So that was, anytime it was rough seas, it was exciting because it was like, oh dude, we get to go play. So you just did dumb stuff like that. We docked in Nassau, and there was the infamous Senior Frogs. And so we were docked with like 2 other ships.
Which is, for those who don't know, it's a famous drinking establishment.
Yes. Yeah. Very clean, real high end, like good health grade score for those of you guys that aren't familiar with Senior Frogs. Really classy establishment.
Yeah.
But I was friends with all the B-boys, and so they were obviously knew all the other B-boys on the other ships, and so us and some of the dancers and stuff, we went like with a big group to Senior Frogs
to say what's up.
Yeah, just to kind of go out there, and we all broke dance in their super clean floors. Broke dance, is that the past tense of breakdancing? But yeah, so one of the guys there, because the B-boys, dude, they made a stupid amount of money, and like, no offense to them, because I can't do what they did, so I get it. But like they would work maybe like 10 minutes a cruise. Like that was pretty much like you come out, you dance, and then they would just piss off to the bar. That was pretty much like like they got paid a dumb amount of money. So anyways, we went to Senior Frogs with them, and one of the guys was like, I'm buying a yard of Long Island iced teas for everybody. And I was like, dial it up, let's do it. So none of us had eaten, none of us was good combination there. And so we start drinking and like having fun and talking and stuff like that. And then we get into like we get about halfway through this yard of pure liquor. And they're like, all right, like we got to go to the next place. We got to down these things. And so I was like, all right, cool. So we had like a little drinking race, whatever, and like down the rest of it. And when we did that, I went to stand up, and I've never been that drunk in my entire life, like ever. And ended up going into the bathroom. I was like, I gotta go to the bathroom, I'll be right back. And I passed out with my face on a toilet seat in this very classy, clean establishment. And I vaguely remember like them coming in and seeing me, like obviously as a group of guys do, laughing at you, taking pictures with you, and then leaving you in the bathroom as they went to the next place. So they went somewhere else, and I couldn't walk, dude. I was gone, right on the verge of alcohol poisoning. So I don't know how, and I don't remember like the process, but I do remember being literally like over the shoulder dragged by one of the other dancers was dating one of the officers. And so he had come in to the bathroom and saw me there and recognized me. And like, I guess taken me out of the bathroom, got with her, and they like dragged me back to the ship. And I remember walking back to the ship with them. I don't remember what I said, but I like very clearly remember like looking up, because I mean, I was passed out. So like I coming to like seeing both of them and going, thanks guys. And then like just passing back out again or something. And then, they brought me on, and I couldn't work. I couldn't do anything for like 2 days. Like I was like sick and like hungover and all of the above. So that was scary, like not knowing where I was or how I got back. And then obviously looking back on it the few days after and being like, bro, like y'all straight left me and I could have just been in Nassau.
Yeah, no. These are your colleagues that you've been with, I'm guessing, up to this point by a couple months.
Oh yeah, I mean, this was like, you know,
they're your friends. I wouldn't have left you out there, Ian.
no, I know you wouldn't have. We had our fair share of drinking adventures, you and I in Ensenada, Mexico.
Mangoes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Look,
I think I remember there was an incident where, well, you know, the buckets of beer kept going, but we arrived on one day and the bar manager saw me coming because I used to send people there all the time. We used to kind of be like, yeah, just head to this particular place. Yeah. And because we were sort of like drumming up business, they would give us more drinks.
If you got there early enough, you could sign in with your crew ID and you would get free drinks. Like they gave you free drinks. Like, like I remember us getting off one morning and just speed walking, like we were small, right, to get to this place. And like and we put our names in, and then I think we went and got like breakfast or something. And we're like, oh, we'll just hang out, go to the coffee shop, like do some like contact our loved ones, since it was $160 to talk to friends and family with a freaking internet card or whatever it was. And so we do all that, and then we just went over there at like lunchtime and just started.
We went and had a really productive day.
We did, yeah. We went over there, made a lot of contact.
There was a guy that was up on the roof, and he had a bong, and I was on the other end of it, down on the ground. And he threw like 3 or 4 beers down it, and then about 3 or 4 shots of tequila, and it all hit me in like that. It was so quick.
Yeah.
And I think I had a leaving do. Do you remember going paintball?
I don't remember doing. It was with
Dane. He had literally poked his gun at the paintballing thing through a narrow, you know, like in wood grain, you get those little holes, that like thing. Knot holes. Yeah, so I was looking through a knot hole on a beam of wood 10 or 15 meters away, but they weren't accurate guns. And I remember like looking through, peering through this knot hole, and I see the barrel of a gun come through, and I see the pellet leave the barrel of the gun. And if you see a pellet leave the barrel of a gun, dude, you know where it's headed.
Yeah, right to the face.
But I'm behind a board looking through a knot hole, and it came through one knot hole and straight into the other. It was like a 1 in a million shot. And I literally just stood up, put my hands in the air. It was like, oh my God. I was completely covered in orange. But yeah, that was a funny moment.
So it's funny. I found some pictures of one of those drinking days, and I believe this was after one of them.
Oh God, that is, yeah. I think I've aged a little bit more than you have. It looks like you've got the whole Dorian Gray situation.
No, it's just facial hair. Both of us just got facial hair. That's the only thing that happened.
Yeah.
And this was, I don't know why this is on my Facebook as well, but you eating a Big Mac. So.
Oh, that's very standard. I went through a phase of wearing those types of cardigans with T-shirts back then.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, that was the thing, I feel
very naughties.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Thanks for that. The audio listeners only will appreciate those pictures.
Yeah. I mean, they're not, you'll have to.
I have to put it on an insert for a social media clip or something. Was there a most embarrassing moment for you? It was like early in your formative years of being a young adult.
Yeah, I had a lot of those. I don't know. It's also kind of, I feel like, unique for people like us, right? That don't get embarrassed very easily because we are just like, yeah, I'm gonna just go do something stupid and I don't really care.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So I feel like when I got fired, like having security show up with, so my buddy at the time, I don't know if you got a chance to work with Irish Bob, but he was like our social host. He might have been at the AD at the time, but he came down with security. And then literally, like, he even told me, he was like, dude, why did you open the door? Like, they were leaving. And I was like, I didn't know that. And I was like, I was trying to, like, because they knocked and I was like, shh. And then they knocked again and we just kind of stayed there. And then they like got out and like jingled their keys and stuff like that. And I just assumed like, frick, they've got a key to open the door. And so I opened it up. He's like, he didn't have a key. He was literally saying like, I don't think I have a key, the everything key. I'll have to go back up and get it.
The everything key.
I was like, dang, right? So whatever. That was pretty embarrassing, like being caught with a guest in my cabin who was
of age.
Yes. Well, yeah, but like also not wearing any clothes. So like that was like very quickly like threw stuff on, and that was very interesting.
Forbidden love is often the most exciting love, they say.
Yeah. Well, also, so genuinely, like I had a drink at the bar. So I was 2 drinks in. At this point, like I have a very high alcohol tolerance because it's pretty much my body's main source of liquid over the past 6 months of this contract. So I was 2 drinks in at this point, and like I blew a pretty high like breathalyzer test. But like my mistake was she went and got drinks at the upstairs thing because I couldn't, because I wasn't 21 yet. So she went and bought drinks, and while she was at the bar, someone bought her a drink, like a guy that was like chatting her up and stuff. And so she came back and was like, this dude actually just bought this for me. You can just have that. And I was like, all right. So like, not sure, spiked that drink or something, but I was like 2 beers in and 3 seats to the wind. Right. But yeah, so I'd say that was probably.
Wait, so the drink that she gave you that was bought for her by somebody else, that was the 3rd drink of your evening, and that sent you over the top.
Oh yeah. So that's why I was like, there had to be something in there. Cause I mean, I was pretty far gone after 3, and all I had was beers. It wasn't like I was drinking hard liquor or anything.
It's a big claim, but it's not something that's not.
No. It just seemed off. Like, and again, could have been a million other factors. I could have been like stomach. I could have been, whatever. Like it could have just hit me harder than usually, but it just seemed off to me. So like, I'm not saying that it was for sure, but it was a little weird. But anyways, so yeah, I would say that was embarrassing. I don't know. Like there's things I don't really get embarrassed per se. There's a lot of things that I said and did while I was on the ship that I was like, it's a good thing that we didn't film stuff, because I feel like we all would have been canceled.
The beauty of this is it's not live, so if you do say something, I can just cut it out.
Right. But no, I mean, legit, like as a guest there, or as a social host and stuff, like you, especially because I would do the comedy club stuff. So I would like, for a long time
you would bring on your dad.
I would, yeah. So we would, I was the
comedy club host
for a little while. I kind of did a little bit of everything. I was a karaoke host for a little while. I was a comedy host for a little while. Like people leave and you get thrown into weird roles. Yeah. But as a comedy club host, you would have hecklers and stuff like that every now and then. And so you would say stuff, and a lot of things that just came off the top of my head. Some of them were like, oh man, I don't know if I remember a specific. There was one, and I don't remember. It stuck with me. I don't remember if I said it or somebody else said it, or if I heard it and then stole it, because, but people, like booed whoever was heckling or whatever. And they're like, no. Listen. Look, he's here to have fun, and he's here to celebrate, just like a lot of you guys are here to celebrate as well. All right. So like, as a matter of fact, we were talking before the show, and he's here celebrating this comedy show, this cruise, his first blowjob. So really just give it up for my guy, and someone get a beer, watch the taste out of his mouth. It's probably still lingering around. And so like, I remember that one. I think it was a comedian who said it. I was like, that is brilliant, dude. So good.
So you don't remember coming up with that, but I
don't remember coming up with it. So I'm going to say it was probably somebody else's.
You can say that was all you, because this is your interview. And I haven't heard anybody else say that. So by all means, claim it as yours. There's only so many jokes in the world.
Yeah. So I remember that one. I mean, you would mostly just make fun of the person and their appearance, or like whatever. You'd like talk to them, like, what do you do? That's cool. There was one of them that I used to do all the time. I got it, like, was one of the ones that my dad did, and like I would do it too. Was the guy would be like, say something, be like, hey buddy, like I'm working right now. This is my job. Okay. And so I don't need you to come here and yell at me doing my job. I don't come to your job and smack the dick out of your mouth while you're working. Okay. So like you had like those things.
This is after the watershed. This is a late night comedy club. No kids allowed.
Yes. No, this is like 18 and above only. I remember literally the most uncomfortable part of being comedy club host was having to kick people out that were not 18.
Really?
Yes, dude, that was the worst, because it would be like high school kids coming in and like, whatever, like do what, but like literally we would have to kick them out. And so like, I literally would have to go be like, hey guys, it's 18 and up only. I am 18. Dude, you got 3 hairs on your chin. Like, get out of here. You're not 18. You're not over 18. You're not, like, go somewhere else. And so like, we would have to do stuff like that. And that was always pretty uncomfortable.
Yeah, I don't actually have any recollection of ever doing that or kicking it.
You know?
I don't. If there is, I just don't remember it being awkward.
I do think it's a little disheartening at this point when you hand somebody your ID, because I still get ID'd for like alcohol and stuff like that. But like, I will hand somebody's ID, and it makes me feel some kind of way when they look at it and go, okay, and just immediately hand it back. And I asked one time, I was like, so like, why so quick? They were like, I saw 19. And I was like, cool.
Yeah, because if it's after 2000, then it's the question. Yeah.
So it's like, no, I saw 19. You're good. I mean, even now it's 2024. You could be born in the 2000s and be legal drinking age.
Yeah. You could date a girl. This is dicey conversation terrain, but you could date a girl who was born after the millennium, and she would be legal.
Yeah.
Within reason, up to 2004.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. By Leonardo DiCaprio standards.
Well, by Leonardo DiCaprio standards, what is it? It's 2024 and 2020 at this point, right?
Yeah. But so you didn't marry the woman who essentially got you fired?
No, I did not. No,
but you did get married.
I did get married. I've got 2 kids. And
you're a daddy.
Lovely wife. Yes. Yeah. So 1 boy, 1 girl. Oldest name is Luca. He's 2.5 right now, and then youngest is Stella, and she's about 1.5.
Oh, I'm happy for you.
Yeah, no, they're awesome. It's been a ton of fun. So my wife and I, we met online. So post Carnival, I came back, sulked for a little while, and then decided I should probably do something with my life. And ended up, so before I actually went to Carnival, I wanted to do student ministry. I kind of felt like that was what the best use of my lifetime that I had spent on stage with my dad and stuff like that. And then also my faith that I'd come to in high school, like midway through high school. And so I was like, that's cool. But then I obviously got the opportunity to go work for Carnival, and I was like, yeah, let's do that.
When you lost your faith.
Right. When I was like, you know what, this is my opportunity to really see what the world's like. So yeah, so went out and obviously did a bunch of dumb stuff. But then when I came back, was just kind of, whatever, don't really care, don't really anything still. And then just ended up, long story short, went back to church. And when I went back to church, was like, all right, feel like this is what I was supposed to be doing. I was supposed to be doing student ministry. So started getting into that, started in 2013. But the wild thing about working for a church is that, and doing student ministry, is that I was pretty much only around children or the 2 other guys that I worked with, that were on staff with us. We were at a smaller church. And so I just pretty much never saw anybody that was my own age or female. And so my sister actually talked me into doing getting a profile on a dating app, which is commonplace now. It was taboo when I did it, but I got on there, and then my wife was a dance teacher. Ironically enough, can't get away from dancers, so she had done the same thing. And, obviously we started dating and got married, and now
it's history.
That's right.
What did you learn from your time at sea that you wouldn't have learned if you had stayed on land?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say, obviously, because you're doing the same-ish thing every day, all day for 6 straight months, right? And you're up in front of people, you're talking in front of people, you are reading a crowd, you're running games, you're running events. I feel like for me, I learned very quickly, much quicker than I would have if I was doing anything else, how to read people, how to read an audience, how to fill time, how to just engage with and talk to people in a way that is not, I feel like I could have a conversation with anybody because that was my job, right? For a long time. And so it's really put me in a good space, especially with my job now, is like meeting people, talking to people, building relationships. And so like that's essentially all we did. And so like I feel like it prepared me really well to do that in a high capacity way. And then also, like, I don't know, gave me a good work ethic, because I mean, it's not like any other job, especially being a social host, because you're not clocking in at 9, clocking out at 5, right? Like you're waking up at 8 and you're running a game for the old people that woke up on vacation at 8 o'clock in the morning, right? And so you have to be up there at 7:45, because if you're not 15 minutes early, then you're late. And then, you show up 15 minutes early without shorts on and you're fired. So, but legit, like you're up, you got to be up there, like 2 people show up, or the worst thing was like 1 person shows up and now you have to entertain this person for the entire time that you're up there. You have to talk to this person for a trivia for 30 minutes.
And they just won't leave.
And they won't leave. And they're like, no, I want to do the trivia.
They want the plastic trophy ship.
And so I was like, I'll just give it to you if you go back to bed. Like you can have it. You can leave if you just leave me alone and I can go nap again. But then you're on the clock, obviously, for 30 minutes. And then you have a 30-minute break before your next activity. And then you have to be back up there in 15 minutes. So you're just sitting around off the clock for 15 minutes, right? And then you clock back in and then you're done for an hour. And then you come back in an hour and then you're like back in 2 hours. So like literally you're working your 9-10 hour day of like actual work, but over the course of 15 to like sometimes like 18 hours a day, if you wake up and you have the first trivia or first game show or first bingo or whatever, and then you also have to do the comedy club. And so it's like you don't really get a break, and so you're kind of constantly working. So that I feel like prepared me really well as far as like time management. I'm the king of the power nap still, right? Knock out for a little bit and roll.
The siesta.
Yes, 100%. And so like I feel like that, and being able to, like, I feel like because of stuff like that, I mean, I can knock out work in probably an hour or 2 that would normally take an entire work day, because I'm like, no, I just got to get it done right now so that I can, because I've got crap for the rest of the day. So, yeah, I do. I genuinely, there's a lot of my time with Carnival that I do think prepared me really well for the rest of my life. So.
Do you know the biggest difference between British bingo and American bingo?
I don't, but I feel like there's a punchline coming.
There's not. It's not a punchline.
Okay.
I was just going to say, do you remember bingo karma?
Bingo karma,
The louder you scream, the more numbers come your way.
Oh gosh, yes. No, I do remember that a lot.
Yeah.
Yes. 100%.
I mean, we hosted 3 games a day minimum. Mm-hmm. If somebody won the first game at the beginning of the week, utilizing bingo karma, then every person on that ship then thought that bingo karma was real and existed.
Oh, for sure.
So for the rest of the week, every number that was called in every game after that,
right,
they would be screaming their heads off every time you pulled a ball out of the machine. That was it. It got to the point where I hated bingo because everyone was screaming the whole time.
But like, I absolutely agree with all of that. But also, there are a few things more painful than a dead bingo. Like you're calling out numbers and everybody's just dead silent. And you're like, okay.
That's the fault of the host.
No, for sure. So that's where I was like, man, absolutely would lean on the bingo karma because it at least made people make noise. Do you remember, was it our contract? I think that we had that air cannon.
That was your other one.
That was the other one. Okay, we had this like vortex cannon thing. There was like this big old gun, and we would like pull it out while people weren't paying attention, and you could like pull it, and it would pop, and it would shoot like this ball of air, like this vortex of air, because it would take a minute to get to people. And so when people weren't paying attention or talking, you'd like shoot it, and you'd put it back under the thing, and like a minute later, their hair would just like, and they'd look around like, what in the world just hit me? And so, like, obviously you'd get people that were in on the joke that were watching it happen, but you would like pull it out and you'd like, that was my favorite part. That made bingo more tolerable.
Yeah, I would imagine it did. Did you have a least favorite activity like scrapbooking?
Oh gosh, dude, freaking scrapbooking. That was only our contract, and I was so thankful that was dead on the second ship. Yes, dude, that was terrible. Scrapbooking was pretty bad. Oh, dude, that just unlocked some sort of deep-seated hatred inside of me that I had buried.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that one was awful. I always hated when, and this was the Charleston contract too, that they would like pull the host every now and then to do the dance lessons with the dancers.
Yeah.
And so we'd have to go and do that, which was, I was dating a dancer, so I also kind of had more obligation than normal. But like, I literally like, I couldn't stand, I hate dancing in front of people, which is also why I hated deck party, because I'm 6'2" and uncoordinated. I just look like a giraffe, like with heels on. Like it's not pretty. It's not a good sight. So, yeah, I didn't like that. Deck party, I think probably my least favorite thing.
Most favorite?
Man, game show was fun. Harry Chest was so much fun. So I know you didn't like that one, but
no, I just thought it was a bit naff. I thought it was a bit cheesy.
And that was my favorite, but that was my favorite part about it.
Certain quizzes I enjoyed more than others, and I really did enjoy doing not paintball, sorry. I really did enjoy doing laser tag.
Oh, dude, laser tag was fun, actually. We only had that on the first one, and that was fun.
Yeah.
I did really like laser tag. Also because, like...
You're just going to take the piss and beat all the kids. One-man army style.
Right. And then you have the, like, odd, like college kid that would show up by himself and play with a bunch of 9-year-olds, and you're like, why are you here, dude? What are you, like...
Yeah, only I get to have this much fun.
Right. It's I'm wearing a uniform. It's weird if you do it, right?
Yeah. Any stupid questions that you can remember? Complaints, requests?
Oh, dude, yeah. One that I still tell all the time. It's my favorite. So I actually had one of the front desk people call me because they knew that I was like looking for this material and stuff. And so like he called me and was like, hey, I've got one. This is the best one I've ever heard. And I'm like, lay it on me. Don't tell the cruise director because I don't want them to steal it. Right. And so this guest had called and was like frustrated with their accommodations. And they're like, listen, I need to be moved rooms right now because what I paid for is not what I got. And the guy at the front desk was like, I mean, can you give me some more information? Like what happened? What's going on? We'd love to accommodate you and whatever needs to happen. They're like, I paid for an ocean view cabin and the only thing I see is the parking lot. And the dude was like, ma'am, you let me know if that's an issue tomorrow and I will personally switch you rooms. Like I used to tell guests during my first contract, I wanted to see, I've always enjoyed messing with people. It's what makes me such a lovable scamp.
Yeah.
But I always told like guests fake events to see if they would show up for it. And so like that was always funny to watch them do stuff like that. One of them, like I'd see like no one ever did it, but I wanted it to happen so badly. Tell them that there was like water skiing off the back of the boat. They're like, yeah, there's like a door back there, and they let them off and they can water ski. And then if they fall, we have a shut, like one of the orange boats from the side. They'll go down, pick them up, bring them back. And I had people that were like, that's crazy. I didn't know that they did, but no one ever. I was like, yeah, dude, if you want to watch it, it's actually this afternoon at 3. And I never had anybody show up. I would schedule it for like when basketball was, so I knew I was up there and I was aft. But no one ever showed up to it. It's weird being so far removed from it because like there's so many things that you just kind of lock away in the back of your head and you just don't think about until. And honestly, one of the things that stands out is like smells. So weird, like to me, like I'll smell something and be like, oh, dude, like that smells like Ensenada, which that's not a good thing. So because you remember there was that bridge that you would walk across in Ensenada, it just smelled like piss all the time.
Yeah, I do.
All the time, right? And so anytime I smell anything like that, like walk through Charlotte or walk through the city or whatever, like, and I smell like urine, I'm like, oh man, Ensenada, wonder how that's been going, right?
It's not a good commercial for the tourism trade over in Ensenada.
No, not at all.
Didn't your dad or our cruise director say that Ensenada, it meant a lot of nothing? Ensenada?
I haven't heard that, but that's hilarious.
It's hilarious. It's not true.
I know, but that's funny. I mean, but isn't it though? Isn't it true?
No, I don't think it's true. I don't think it's true. It might sound like it makes sense because nada means.
No, that's right. But like, isn't it? Doesn't it? I mean, doesn't it make sense though? You know.
I tell you what, I have to be thankful for. Ensenada was where I saw Toy Story 3, which made me cry.
Yeah,
and it was the place that I was introduced to Takis.
Oh yes, dude, so good.
Takis are like in the last few years. They are in high demand over here now.
Oh, okay.
Loads of shops now store takis, every flavor.
Okay, good.
I used to really like crave certain crisps to be sent, or like from home. I used to crave after certain crisps, but I got my fix with the takis, and I was like, yeah, these would do. These would be a fine placeholder for now, even though they taste chemically spicy. There's I don't know, I just quite enjoyed them. Also, chiclets. Chiclets were,
dude, I was gonna say chiclets. That's the big one though, because obviously are having them shoved in your face every 5 seconds, every 5 steps. Like you have chiclets in your face, chiclets and hammocks. Like I don't understand. Like what am I gonna do with a hammock?
a hammock full of chiclets.
Yes, honestly, that would make their day. 100%. I will buy a hammock full of chiclets for you guys. They'd be like, oh, it's phenomenal. I thought about this when we were doing the thing, when you and I, we were doing you remember that place in Long Beach where you could go and like they had computers set up and it was specifically for crew. It was called Siemens. I'm just kidding. It actually was something like that. And they were like, have you been to Siemens? And I was like, I don't know if I want to go to Siemens. Is that a club?
It's the phone company.
Yeah. So like we went there and we were talking and we were like both on 2 different computers right next to each other. And we were Skyping our families or whatever. And you're like, hey, like say hi to my mom. And I went over and I was like, hey, and like threw like what over here is the peace sign. And you were like, no. He doesn't know what that means. That's not. And you were like, dude, why would you do that? And I was like, what are you talking about? I didn't do that here. And I was like, oh no, that's just peace. He was like, no, peace is the other way. And I was like, oh my bad, I didn't mean to flip your parents off.
Oh, it's funny that you remember.
I remember that. That lives rent free in my brain.
Oh, I'm glad I just managed to find that nugget that you just flipped off my parents.
Yeah, I was like, oh, hey, what's up, y'all? And I was like, oh, like your parents. I will never. It will be burned into my brain forever. The mortified look of your mom. Yeah, super interesting. No, I was thinking about that when I was like driving home from work this morning.
Do you remember when I think I left the end of my contract, and then because I was in a relationship with Rachel, the idea was that I was going to go to my next ship, and then when she'd finished on the Paradise, she'd come and join me on that. But when I before I went to the second ship, I came back to the Paradise for a mini staycation to just be with her. But when I came to the when I got flown to LA and Long Beach, I was given a car that would drive me from the hotel to the ship. And it was like a really swanky Lincoln something.
Oh.
It was a proper...
They freaking paid up for you. What happened to me?
I have no idea. They sent me from the hotel to the ship in a swanky car. And I remember getting to the quayside and being like, there's nobody here to see me getting out of this cool car. So I said to the driver, could you just like drive around one more time and see like maybe if I can spot somebody? He was like, yeah, no worries.
That's phenomenal.
And then I got out of the car. I was like, I threw my jacket over my shoulder. I put my shades on. I was like, hey guys, how's it going?
Oh my gosh. No, dude, I got a airport transport like van that I got driven to my hotel where I had to stay with I think it was the DJ actually that was coming on and was like, never met this dude in my life. And they were like, you guys are sharing a room. Like we had like 2 separate beds and we just like stayed in the hotel room, like talked for a little while and then just awkwardly, silently went to bed and was like, okay. And then we like took the same shuttle to the ship in the morning and then like would essentially live together, obviously on the ship. Like we were roommates, but like we were, you're never too far from anybody. Right.
Yeah.
So I feel like that was definitely one of my, craziest things that's happened while I was on the cruise ship is I like the rooming situation. Like my roommates were just all time comical. And so I remember when I got on the Paradise, I roomed with out the gate, the like athletic instructor guy. So he was like the trainer, personal trainer or whatever on the ship. So he was in obviously very good shape. And then you have me. And so we stood in stark contrast to each other.
The classic odd couple.
Right. So, and he was super cool dude, did not speak very much English, which was rather common on the ship, depending on like where you're at. Entertainment team was mostly from English speaking like countries, but like outside of the entertainment team, that was pretty much it. Like everybody else kind of had another language, which I've always like respected somebody that started with a completely different language, was like, I'm going to learn English. Cause I'm like, I don't even know English. Right. So, but he was awesome. And then I got moved out of his room and into another room with this guy. His name was Bogdan, and he was the trumpet player on the ship. And just, he was a good dude, but he was very particular and also just didn't speak a ton of English, right? So I was very green. I was very new. I'd not done a contract before, so you don't get the premium rooms. I'm down on deck 2. Like, so you got deck 3, which is where all the entertainment people and all the like kind of mid-tier staffers, they all work over there. And then deck 2 was like, you have like your room stewards, your like people, like the people that do all the actual work, they were in deck 2. And so like I got put down there with them.
So what's deck 1 and deck 0 and deck minus 0? Deck minus
Oh,
1,
those were
minus
people that did even more work than us, right? Like that was the further down you got, like the more the company expected out of you and the less they paid you. That's essentially
that's how the world works.
Yes, they work more hours, get paid less, and have better attitudes than the people that are like above you. Because I remember our room steward was one of the kindest people I've ever met in my entire life.
Yeah.
And made probably half of what I made to be an idiot into a microphone in front of a bunch of drunk people.
But you said that you were in this room with Bogdan.
So I was in this room with Bogdan, and Bogdan, super good dude, but was very particular. And so like I showed up to like meet Bogdan, right? Or just to actually not even meet him, just to get into our room. And when I go to get into my cabin, he's standing at the door, right? Like waiting for me. I don't know how long he's been waiting there. I don't know if they gave him an exact time or if he was just there for hours. And I like show up and I was like, hey, you must be Bogdan. And he was like, a couple rules.
Before I even greet you and say, hello, nice to meet you.
Right.
A couple rules.
So yeah, that's how he greeted me. And I was like, I just kind of laughed at him because I was like, what? Like, you're a character. This is not how someone really acts. And so he was like, a couple rules. And I was like, okay, let's hear it. Right. And so it was just I don't remember the exact rules. I remember a few of them. Like he was very particular because he would sleep forever. And as social hosts, we didn't. Right. Like you would show back up into the room at 1:00 in the morning after the comedy club was done or whatever your last thing was. If it was done at 12, you're going to the crew bar afterwards because it's the only time anybody has to hang out. And so then you're showing back up and like 1:00 in the morning, you're walking in, and then your next thing is at 7 a.m. So like I'm out the door and he's been sleeping this whole time. Like he went to sleep at 9 and he woke up. He was also like 65. Like this was like not a young dude. So like he's also old at the time. So like legit, he might be younger now, but we don't know. So he like one of his rules was anytime I enter or exit the cabin or go into the bathroom or leave the bathroom, I have to pull the handle down, shut the door, and then release the handle. Because otherwise sounds like a gunshot to him when those doors close, which they're heavy doors. I somewhat get it, but like, it's not that serious. That's a little bit dramatic, Bogdan. All of my laundry needed to stay in my basket in the corner, which I did. And so I tried my best to like follow all of his rules because like, it's fine. Like I'm coming into your room. It's our shared space. But like at the same time, I want to respect you as a roommate. And then he complains to the cruise director because I would put things in my basket, but the arm like of a sleeve of my Domino's delivery shirt would be hanging off the side of my basket. So he like,
how could you, Ian?
I know. I'm so sorry. I apologize. Bogdan, if you were listening to this, I apologize.
Man, 65 years old. He's too old for this shit.
I just, turn your hearing aid off for this next part, Bogdan, because, well, it's going to get worse. But like legit. So he complained about that. He complained because a couple times, like I would leave and I would forget about shutting, because you would, in order to leave the room, you would have to enter your card into the other side in order to pull the handle down.
Yeah.
So I'd have to take my card with me, put it in the thing, which I did for way too long, right? Like before I was like, screw this guy. I'm just going to leave the room. And so like I would do that. And then he complained to the cruise director and all bets were off, right? Because now I have to sit down and I have to listen to this dude in front of the cruise director talk about all the things that, according to him, I've done wrong, like that he's told me that he expects of me. And then it was brilliant because the cruise director just sat there and went, that's ridiculous. And you can't expect to do that. Right. And so then after that, it was just again, I like messing with people. So I was slamming doors when I'd leave because I'm like, what do you do? Get up, right? Like if I'm leaving the room, like I'm going to slam the door and run away like a schoolgirl because I'm like, right? Like you're not going to come out here and chase me. Like I'm going to work. You don't have anything to do today. So, I mean, that was a rough living situation. And eventually, like I messed with him to the point that he moved rooms. He went somewhere else. And I think they just gave him his own room because they were like, this dude won't room with anybody.
He's 65. You feel like he probably earned it.
Right. Like, you know, you've done it in life. Here's your own.
He's blown his trumpet enough times.
Yeah. Part of the problem, though, is that no one else was blowing his trumpet. And that was probably why he was so agitated all the time.
Very good. You're your father's son.
So, but yeah, so that was the rooming situation was always odd. And then I had one of the male dancers was on my second contract, and I roomed with him through the whole thing, and he was awesome. He was super cool. I remember it was funny. He was as gay as the day is long, and so he was just hilarious. And I remember legitimately like us watching Disney movies and singing Disney songs together, completely sober, didn't have a drinking problem.
Well, but you know, there's a lot of homosexuals in the entertainment department on ships.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
So the odds are, well, they're not 50-50. I'd say the odds are stacked against you to have a homosexual roommate.
Oh, no, absolutely. Like, probably more than that. Because literally, honestly, like, and this may ruffle feathers, but like, I mean, I've only met one straight dancer. I know my wife gets upset about this because, like I've said, like literally, like I've only ever met one straight. And she was like, just because you're dancing doesn't mean you're gay. And I was like, no, but statistically.
Yeah, that's fair. So, that's fair.
Like, okay, it's whatever. I don't care. I lived with this dude for like 6 months, and he was awesome. He was one of my best friends. So that I think probably was my biggest difficulty was rooming with other people because there's so many different cultures, right? Like, and so again, from flipping off your mom on accident to like, I mean, you know, sounding like a shotgun was closing every time I shut the door. That's not a culture thing. He's just old. But like, I mean, you want to make sure that you're respecting other cultures and stuff like that. And I do feel like I have much more than the average American, unfortunately, a larger respect for other cultures and other people because I lived with a lot of them. And so, yeah, so I feel like that was super big. I feel like that was one of the big formative moments for me with Carnival.
100%. So, nice one to kind of tail off with.
Yeah.
To kind of make you look like a semi-respectable human being at the end of it.
And that's really all this is about. Like, I'm not even telling the truth. I just want people to respect me and to understand that I'm a good person.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Now I work for a nonprofit. We do campus ministry, which is super fun. It's always been a part of something that I've done. So we, as a student pastor, like our goal is to be on school campus, public school campuses, but to equip the students to do it. Because obviously separation of church and state here in America, I don't know what the laws and rules are in England or overseas, but I imagine it's probably similar. Like where me as a student pastor, I don't get to just walk on campus and be like, hey guys, like, let me tell you about Jesus, right? Because there's a lot of different religions. There's a lot of different beliefs. There's a lot of different people.
Yeah.
And so there are, our hope though, and our goal as a campus ministry is to go on and to start student run, because if a student runs a club, if a student puts a club together, like they can do whatever they want. Right. And so our goal is to lead students, to lead other students. And so we do that, and it's called YCI, Youth Commission International. And so it's been super fun. Obviously, we are always looking to expand. So if anybody is listening and would love to start a club on their school campus, wherever you're at, no matter what country.
Is there a website link?
Instagram is at YCI Clubs. Our website is yciclubs.com, or you could just email me at ian@yciclubs.com. And I'd love to talk to you, man. I'd love to get rolling on something there. I do believe that because I have a platform, student pastors and other pastors have a platform, but a lot of times students don't have a platform to talk about anything that they want to talk about, faith or otherwise. And so the goal is to set up clubs to give them that platform to do it. So yeah, that's my plug.
Thank you so much for joining me, Ian. I really appreciate you spending the time with me, and it's been wonderful to reconnect and catch up and see what you're up to in life.
Yeah, no, same, dude. Genuinely, like it's good to hear from you. I saw you on the Facebook chat, and I was like, dude, whatever it is, yes.
Oh, thank you.
Glad you're doing well. I'm proud of you for all the things that you're pushing towards, and that you're actually talking about some of this stuff. Is super cool.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate you. And hope to see you again soon.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, my wife and I are going to be actually over here for our 10-year anniversary. We're going to be doing some stops around Europe. So I'd love to get up, grab some coffee, grab a pint or whatever.
Lovely talking to you, brother. And all the best to you and the family. Loved speaking to you. And God bless.
To you as well. Yes, for sure. We'll do it again soon.
Thanks, man. Take care.
See you, man.
So there you have it. That wraps it up for this episode of DeckTales. I hope you enjoyed it. If you've been entertained by the tales of laughter, camaraderie and the occasional stormy sea, don't forget to subscribe, rate and leave a review. Your feedback helps us to navigate the podcast waters and continue bringing you these fascinating stories. Before I sign off, if you'd like to share your own ship stories for future episodes, then I'd love to hear from you. Simply get in touch over the socials because after all, the best stories often come from our listeners. As we navigate through the waters of life, remember to enjoy the journey as much as the destination, as well as those you choose to share the adventure with. I've been your captain, Sammy Catlin. Until next time, fair winds, smooth sailing, and may your adventures be as unforgettable as those shared on DeckTales. Bon voyage.